Welcome to Inside Integrative Therapy, where we explore the questions people often have long before they schedule their first therapy appointment.
Welcome back. I'm Janelle Adams, licensed marriage and family therapist and registered art therapist with In Touch Counseling Services. There is a moment that some neurodivergent adults describe that I find particularly meaningful. It's the moment when they begin looking back at parts of their life and thinking, there was a reason some things felt hard for me. Maybe I wasn't simply being too sensitive. Maybe I wasn't lazy. Maybe I wasn't failing at things that everyone seemed to understand. For some adults, recognizing their neurodivergence or beginning to explore whether neurodivergence may help explain their experiences can bring relief. But it can also bring a lot of questions. And sometimes those questions are where therapy begins. Many adults have spent years developing ways to navigate a world that may not always feel intuitive to them. They may have learned to watch other people closely, to adjust how they communicate, to carefully manage their environment, to rehearse conversations, to push sensory discomfort, or to work harder to maintain routines that seem to come naturally to other people. They may become incredibly capable at adapting, but adapting can come with a cost. Sometimes that cost looks like exhaustion. Sometimes it looks like anxiety. Sometimes it can show up as difficulty maintaining relationships, feeling overwhelmed by transitions, or needing specific recovery time after social or professional demands. And sometimes it's simply the feeling of being different without understanding why. When someone has spent years believing they need to try harder, be less sensitive, communicate differently, or simply get it together, discovering a different explanation can change the conversation. One of the things I believe is most important in working with neurodivergent adults is that therapy should not be about teaching someone to become a different kind of person. It should be about understanding yourself more fully. What environments support you? What drains you? How do you experience relationships? What happens when you're overwhelmed? What strategies have you developed to navigate the world? And which of those strategies are actually helping you, and which ones may be leaving you exhausted? This is where an integrative approach can be particularly valuable. We can look at the whole person rather than separating one difficulty from everything else happening in your life. We may explore relationships, stress patterns, emotional experiences, life transitions, sensory or emotional needs, creativity, and the ways that you have learned to cope and adapt. For some clients, art therapy can provide another way to communicate and explore experiences that don't always translate easily into words. The goal isn't to put you into another box, it's to understand what actually works for you. From self-criticism to self-understanding. For some people, the most meaningful shift isn't learning to work harder. It's learning to stop interpreting every difference as a personal failure. Instead of, why can't I do this like everyone else? The question can become, what do I need in order to do this in a way that works for me? That is a very different starting point. And sometimes greater self-understanding creates room for greater self-compassion. If you've spent much of your life feeling like you should be able to handle things more easily, or wondering why certain experiences seem to affect you differently, therapy can offer a place to explore those questions without judgment. You don't have to have everything figured out before you begin. Sometimes therapy is where we begin making sense of the pieces. Thank you for spending these few moments with me. If you feel like this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to learn more about the services that In Touch Counseling offers.